Hello and welcome to MCM Studio. You're with me, Anna Yazijyan, and the news team. It's good to have you with us. This week's program is dedicated to an ongoing, hotly debated topic which can be related to everyone. Whether you are with or against it, piracy in itself will always have a negative connotation. Yes, you guessed it right, my colleagues and I prepared a full news report about media piracy. Today we will talk about this not-so-recent phenomenon which has spread its tentacles into all spheres of our daily lives. Try to remember, when was the last time you bought an official film DVD and not downloaded the torrent? Be honest, have you watched the first 5 episodes of Game of Thrones' 5th season, which leaked ahead of its official release? By itself, the media piracy did not originate on the internet. First pirated content were audio tracks duplicated from tape recorders. Next came video cassettes allowing to duplicate videos. Then piracy gradually moved to the expanses of the World Wide Web, where in fact it rooted. Now there are hundreds of websites and services that can be used for downloading free movies, software, and music. The real breakthrough in the field of internet piracy can be considered the creation of uTorrent program, which allows unlimited downloading of any content. Established in 2005, it made a real sensation by giving users a huge amount of multimedia information. The number of its users grew rapidly, and today there are more than 100 million consumers. It is easy to use as it takes up little space and uses little memory. It is hard to argue against free content, but what about those who invest their money and energy into the production of this content? What do they get in return? How do they get paid back if their work has already been downloaded for free? There were numerous attempts to resolve this issue, but little has changed. Such industries as music and film are also affected by internet piracy. Millions of films, video clips, and music videos are illegally distributed, downloaded, and viewed. Every year, governments and NGOs produce dozens of reports with horrifying statistics of the increasing number of piracy, whether it is movies, music, books, or even fashion brands. There are countless laws banning illegal channels through which pirates and counterfeit products can be sold or distributed. Peer-to-peer networks and file-sharing sites are increasingly used to traffic digital content, while forums, blogs, and internet-related chat help pirates communicate with their customers. How do we stop this? But in the first place, do we really need to stop it? In order to find this out, you have to understand the nature of this problem. Piracy can take many types and forms, many of which may not necessarily be harmful. Our reporter Fatima Mahfouz fully investigated this issue. She has more details for you.
In the modern society, technological advancements make it possible for internet users to access copyrighted intellectual property without fearing the consequences. Some of the forms of piracy include movies, software, books, music, and fashion. Music piracy is a popular form of piracy, where the files are compressed into a convenient format such as MP3 to ensure easier copying and distribution processes. The format guarantees that a large number of files are stored in one site and can be accessed from any convenient location. Movie piracy has damaged the industry, since some of the files are shared prior to the artists officially releasing them. Sony's movie Annie is an example of a movie that was pirated before the actual release of the movie. Another form of piracy is software piracy. It deals with the illegal replication, distribution, and use of software. This is becoming very popular, since many people find the purchasing of software to be expensive. Fashion piracy takes place when a registered fashion design, including undergarments, footwear, outerwear, eyeglasses, ornaments, clothing, gloves, and apparel, is replicated by others. For example, this becomes obvious when less luxurious brands copy one of Chanel's best-selling products. Shops like Zara and Pull&Bear are now selling shoes that look very similar to Chanel's espadrilles. Book piracy can happen when print and electronic books are illegally traded. This usually happens because the majority of people prefer to spend their money on other merchandise. Now let's take a look at the different types of piracy. Counterfeiting, internet piracy, end-user policy, client-server overuse, and hard disk loading are all types of piracy. Counterfeiting is when copyrighted material is unlawfully replicated, distributed, or sold with the purpose of imitating the original product. Internet piracy is when unauthorized copies of content are downloaded over the internet. If downloads are made available on the internet, make sure that the publisher has authorized this distribution. End-user piracy is when an individual reproduces copies of software without authorization. Client-server overuse is a type of piracy that happens when a central version of a program is being used by multiple users across networks at the same time. The legal protocol specifies that the owner of the server must have a license for letting people on the same local area network use the installed programs. Finally, hard disk loading is when a business sells new computers with illegal replicas of software loaded onto the hard disks to make the purchase of the machines more attractive. Now that you know about all these types and forms of piracy, you can be aware of your own actions. This is Fatima Mahfouz.
And now we will talk about the legal aspects of piracy. Are there different laws in different countries? Answers to these questions have been found by our next reporter, Hadeel Mansour.
With new technological advancements, sharing files can be done in seconds, from anywhere in the world and for many purposes. Piracy can have many definitions and classifications. Some believe it's absolutely absurd to share distribution of copyright materials. However, others believe that considering this action as theft is an exaggeration to reality. Of course, different laws in diverse countries have been adopted in order to restrict users from committing this crime. Moreover, piracy can be measured if there is monetary gain for one party and financial loss for the copyright holder. Recent ZNet report on UK businesses running Windows states that Microsoft would not put a figure on how much it loses from unintentional piracy, but said that while 85% of the UK small businesses run Microsoft software, only 15% pay for it. In the United States, anyone found guilty of streaming copyrighted content without permission for 10 or more times within 6 months could face up to 5 years in jail. A commercial pirate is defined as one who willfully copies software for commercial advantage or private financial gain. The U.S. Department of State states that the U.S. economic policy includes the protection of intellectual property rights as an essential element. In the United Kingdom, the criminal liability of copyright varies from 3 months to 10 years sentence in addition to £5,000 to £50,000 fine depending on the violation.
We will continue the story after a short break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying. It's good to have you with us. Now that we know the legal aspects and types of piracy, we can move on to talk about different arguments for and against piracy. To know what they are, let's watch Ban Hadidi's report.
The aim of piracy is to promote own interest. The party that engages in movie, fashion, software, and other content pirating aims at promoting self-gain in terms of making the content available to the end user, or gaining access without much difficulties. What is clear is that piracy persists despite the attempt to institute legislations to curb this behavior. Attempt to pay for content or access of a given software, music, book, or fashion has become a very difficult and costly procedure, and the much appealing choice is pirating. High cost is the central reason for piracy. The considerations of the price for the movies, television series, software, music, or fashions has brought a new chapter.
There's a big difference psychologically between going into a store and stealing a CD or stealing software and copying it. For one, you're not physically taking something, you're not actually taking something away, you're just copying it, so psychologically they see that as differently. And then the other thing that makes a really huge difference in their mind is they see it as predominantly something that younger people under the age of 40, often students who don't have a lot of money to spend, are doing, and who's being hurt? Microsoft, Bill Gates, the movie studios, the record companies, and those are bodies that they see as having a lot of money, who are already making a ton of money. So it's a bit of a Robin Hood phenomena. They often share it. A lot of the people doing it are not making money from it. They're copying it illegally, but then they're sharing it with their friends. So it doesn't feel unethical or immoral.
Peggy Chaudhry, the author of books like Protecting Your Intellectual Property Rights and The Economics of Counterfeit Trade, argues that illegitimate distributors are increasingly turning to streaming to deliver works because it is faster, cheaper, and more convenient. There is no doubt that the presence of piracy is a relief to the end user. Another argument which developed in support of piracy is that it is a logical approach to reshaping access to music, software, films, or fashions. Many people are not pleased with the ways media content are offered for purchase. Piracy has also shown to come in handy when looking at products which cannot be accessed due to market barriers. Country laws sometimes ban products from showing or entering the country, leaving piracy as a good option for consumers. Other times, content is released at a later date in some countries, while pirated copies are made available almost instantly. Besides, piracy promotes the development of culture since the fans have access to information that would prove hard to find. Now let us turn to some of the arguments against piracy. Piracy deprives the film, fashion, software, or the music industry a worthy transaction. It gives people free access to their hard work. Because of piracy, there is an increased loss in terms of economic gain. Corruption and piracy are interrelated. Piracy influences corruption, and this leads to the failure of achieving potential as well as limiting accountability. Eventually, the transactional worthiness and trade-off between innovation and greater scope of economic development limits significant gains in terms of profits. Promoting own interest and self-gain through an exchange of information that causes disparity is a phenomenon that leads to more harm in the global market. Despite the perceived lack of consequences, piracy remains first and foremost an illegal act. The concerned agencies should implement policies that limit the challenges which piracy brings. The law has not been completely successful in limiting the excesses of piracy, and the authority or producers should find a better way to make the content available. This is Ban Hadidi.
So which side would you take? Do you think downloading without paying is acceptable? This question was among many others which our news team asked at the American University of Sharjah. We surveyed 100 students and employees to find out what they think about piracy. This is what we found. The survey includes 10 questions asking if respondents know about the concept of intellectual property, where do they download the content from, and is it acceptable to download without paying. Out of 102 surveyed people, 30 were males, which is 29%, and 72 were females, making it 71%. The majority of respondents were aged between 17 and 25. Out of 102 respondents, only 22 believed that it is unacceptable to download without paying, and only 3 out of those 22 against piracy never have and never will download anything. These two charts show that only 13%, that is 4 out of 30 male respondents, think that it is unacceptable to download for free, and 25%, which is 18 out of 72 female respondents, agree with them. The reasons range from high prices to availability. These are the motives chosen by males. Number one reason, according to males, is that it costs too much, making it 31%. Indeed, some software programs cost hundreds of dollars, like Microsoft Office or Adobe products. Not to forget to mention, some iPhone apps can go up to $50. Another reason not to spend money online is that there is nothing wrong with downloading for free. 29% of male respondents believe that there are no ethical issues. 23% chose readily available as a reason for online downloading, whereas females download for free because of the availability, making it 39%. High costs and ethics share equal amount of votes, 22% each. 16% of females think downloading is acceptable because everyone else does it. We also asked the respondents about sources they prefer to download from, and not surprisingly, peer-to-peer networks including uTorrent, BitTorrent, and LimeWire got the largest percentage. Online file hosting websites are second in the list. Both males and females prefer torrents to file hosting. We also carried out intercept surveys by interviewing random students at AUS.
I think it's a serious issue. Although we all download our free music, I think it's unfair to the authors and artists who contributed to develop this piece, who we're basically stealing from.
It's a convenient way. It's a convenient way of sharing things. And yeah, I think it works both ways. People get famous because of that. Nobody's going to go buy a new thing every time. So for, I think, young and budding artists and some of the artists who are famous right now have in some way benefited from this. So yeah, it's a fair game.
I believe it's wrong, but I also do it at the same time. So sometimes, so I can't really say it's a bad thing.
It's illegal.
Yeah, I do download it because it's for free and I can't afford all of the movies and music videos and music that I need, so I do download for free.
I usually download my contents for free because I think I just watched the TV show once and I don't want to watch it twice. So what's the point of paying so much for it when I can actually just watch it for free once and get it over with, basically?
Because it's convenient and because it's free. Yeah.
Yeah, like I do. I can't regret that. I mean, I do download music, and I know a lot of people are doing movies as well, because I know that it may sound like internet piracy, but it has been as a trend, so I don't feel it's wrong anymore.
Because it provides free movies, games, software, things that I have to pay a lot for. And it's very quick. I can download from my laptop very quickly. I don't have to get out of the house to do it. It's there are a lot of TV series, so I don't have to worry about not finding something I want. I'll find everything on it online, so that's why I do it.
Yes, I do. Because I download music all the time, and it's going to take me a lot of time to drive down to any store and buy the CD. And usually I just want one song off the CD, not the whole CD. And if I missed certain movies in the cinema, it's just much more convenient to get it online rather than to get it.
No, me, I don't do it.
You don't do it?
No. Because I will tell you why. It's about disrupting the economy, disrupting the civilization. So you work hard to produce something, let's say a piece of literature or piece of music. Yeah, you work it 1 year or 2 years, and then you produce this amazing thing, and then somebody will come and then take it for free. هذا haram. It's illegal. I'm sorry for that.
I use MP3 Skull and any torrents, torrents and websites.
And I use uTorrent for downloading.
I download using uTorrent, but I use the Pirate Bay or Kick-Ass torrents to download to get the actual torrents to download through.
uTorrent for sure.
Immoral, but necessary.
Okay.
Internet piracy is not a bad thing, in my opinion, because there are a lot of other things that are considered illegal in this country. That should be the last thing that's considered basically illegal.
It's illegal but useful.
Internet piracy is unacceptable.
Immoral, illegal. I would say, I'm sorry to say, it's criminal. Don't do it, really don't do it.
Even though the majority of respondents know about the concept of intellectual property, they still download multimedia content without paying for it. Even those who believe that piracy is unacceptable are still downloading for free. Many say that companies set very high prices not worth the products, while others instinctively download because others do so too. Piracy cannot be eradicated as people will always find new ways to bypass the laws. This means that this issue requires a whole new level of solutions which have not been found yet. This is it for today's program. My colleagues Fatima Mahfouz, Hadeel, Mansour, Hadeel, and I, Yazijyan, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for our next programs.